In this video, I spent some time simply enjoying photography and exploring a few different subjects, kicking things off with a partial solar eclipse we were lucky enough to see here in Nova Scotia with some clear skies. From there, the adventure continues with a few unexpected photography opportunities along the way. And yes, there's a rather enthusiastic song sparrow making his voice heard throughout the solar eclipse portion. Hopefully it doesn't get too annoying. Well, because my other ball head on this tripod is loose, so the sun's almost directly overhead, so it tips back and I can't hold it because it doesn't catch. So I dusted off the big guy that I still haven't really used a whole lot. It's not going to tip this one. And we'll get it set up here and then we wait. So I don't have a dedicated solar filter, so I'm using a 10 and a 6 for 16 stops. I believe they kind of want you in the 16.5 to 17 area, but I just won't keep it pointed at the sun the whole time. You can damage the sensor. I'm probably okay with this, leaving it full time, but I'll just go up, shoot, come off. So I have it at 150. I'll find it, so it's right there, because you don't want to be looking up at the sun, so then when I zoom in, then I can slowly align it. But yeah, you don't want to be looking at the sun. Wrong way. Okay. This is the raw footage with only warmth added. That adjustment brings out the burning ball and the sun color. Pull it away from the sun and then wait till it gets closer to the time, so just before 2 o'clock. Well, that's about maximum. Nothing crazy impressive. No change in the daylight. But we'll stay through. I won't show any more of it, but we'll stay through and I'll put a collage together, even though it won't be super impressive, as a totality, which I've never shot. Best I have, I think, is 93. This was from the only other eclipse I photographed using the same process. It was here in Halifax in 2024 with about 95% coverage. It yields a much nicer result, but totality would be really neat to witness. Well, I've been chasing wood ducks this evening. No luck, but normal. But I did go to Shubie Park. And I didn't find anything there, but had I not gone to the canal in last week's video, I probably wouldn't even fired this in, but I'll go into a little bit here. In last week's video, I ended up exploring a section of the historic Shubie Canal. This was Lock 5 in Wellington. The canal has a fascinating history. Construction began in 1829 with an ambitious goal connecting Halifax Harbor to the Bay of Fundy. It took roughly 35 years to complete, but unfortunately for those who built it, the canal was already becoming obsolete just a decade later, as the rise of the railway offered faster and more efficient way to move people and goods. It's one of those interesting places in Nova Scotia history that you can still experience today. After the eclipse, I ventured to Shubie Park, hoping to track down a wood duck that had been sighted there recently. This is also close to Sullivan's Pond, an area I've featured numerous times on this channel, and one that's also connected to the Shubie Canal system like Shubie Park. Sullivan's Pond is where I got my best images to date of wood ducks. It's the high that I keep chasing.
Shubie Park is surprisingly large considering it's right in the middle of the city. I ended up walking about 6 kilometers, checking pretty much every spot where I thought a duck might be. There were plenty of mallards around, but unfortunately the wood ducks were nowhere to be found. There were, however, squirrels everywhere. The park was also busy with people enjoying the wide trails, with plenty of walkers and cyclists, and people out on the water renting canoes and paddleboards. I explored areas where there was sometimes some small rapids, but there was barely any water flowing. I even checked out a spot where I've photographed the great blue heron before. No such luck. Just a few ducks wandering around the trails instead. I didn't even bother getting the camera out for most of the walk, but on the way back to the car, almost at the end of the Odin, something caught my eye. It was an interesting tree trunk structure. I believe it's an oak, and while it may not sound like the most exciting subject, there's something about the shape and texture that grabbed my attention. I pulled out the telephoto and started playing with the composition, shooting between the road and then houses that are just above the top of the tree line. Now I'm curious which version you prefer, the color version or the slightly wider black and white conversion.
So I'm at Spectacle Lake, I believe it is. There are some ducks here. There's been a wood duck here before, but there's frogs everywhere in here. Little eyes just sticking out. Problem is with the fade and light, I gotta crank the ISO to get anything usable. And some big dragonflies flying around too. So there's 3 there. Eyeballs, 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 eyeballs. And further out, more eyeballs. More eyeballs. The problem in here is that it's not clean. Like there's a lot of debris and algae and dead leaves in the foreground here. So I've been shooting, trying to get a minimalist without that dirt. And then I'm also very close, so I gotta like stand back so that I can actually shoot them, being able to catch them in focus.
I decided to close the evening out with the sunset shoot of my newly discovered lone tree, but I noticed the sun was lined up nicely with another tree in the scene, so naturally I had to try to give it a shot. I think this could have been even more interesting if I'd been further away. The sun would have appeared larger in relation to the tree and really helped emphasize the composition. I was so focused on getting the tree lined up as at 600 millimeters the sun visibly moves in the frame that I completely missed the father and his kids walking into my frame. And yes, there are 3 people in this photo. No AI generated legs like it looks if there were only 2.
Well, I'm going to try to close out a nice day of photography with the Belt of Venus with our lone tree here at this cemetery graveyard. There's a difference, but I don't know which is which right now. But getting a little color, but the sun has just gone behind the clouds and we're like 20 minutes away from sunset. So I don't know how much more color we're going to get, but we'll have a peek. There's a nice color in every other direction, but we're shooting up a hill, so we lose all the nice color on the horizon. But it is what it is. No clouds to light up anyway, so this might be it. I might put a timer on and run into the scene and put a little Chris Kelly into my frame. Too close, too big. And then venture over to that other lone tree. That's not going to catch any of the light. The bench is gone. With the bench gone, I don't need to edit that out. There are a couple little tufts of grass there, but I don't know. The only clouds in the sky, just picking up my camera here. The only clouds in the sky block the sun. We'll have to come back, but that was a pretty good day of photography at least. A few good images here, an eclipse. Anyway, cheers. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.